Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today you join me from the Caterham 310R and some horses that seem to have taken an interest in what I'm doing. And I've had this car for just under a week now and I've got it for a few more days. I've really got to know it. Really enjoy driving this car, it's so much fun. As I say, it's a 310R, which means approximately 310 brake horsepower per tonne, which is absolutely loads. It's got about 152 horsepower, I think, and it only weighs half a tonne, which is nothing. This car is probably the closest thing you can get to a race car on the road, especially for the money. I think this one costs somewhere between 25 to 30 to 35,000 pounds, depending on how you spec it. This one is actually spec'd really highly for the model, so I'll take you around, I'll show you everything on it, and I guess I'll show the horses as well because they seem more interested than you'd think. So taking a closer look at the Caterham, as I mentioned, this is the 310R, which has very kindly been lent to me by Caterham Cars for about 8 days. Here this afternoon I'm actually in Heveningham, beautiful part of the world, for the Heveningham concourse, which is where I brought the car, and it's had so much attention. There's supercars here, hypercars here, but everyone loves the Caterham. So giving you a closer look at this thing, I apologise, it's quite muddy and fly splattered because I've been using it for almost a week now and it's done quite a few hundred miles. But we've got the carbon fibre arches at the front, carbon fibre kind of effect decal up the bonnet, and I should mention this is Ford electric blue, this colour, a bit like the old Focus ST, you might recognise. It's really nice metallic sparkly colour, or was before I got it muddy. Caterham written on the side, the big noisy exhaust, which hopefully I'll have some clips of that to put in there for you as well. Carbon fibre there as well, you can just about see it through the mud. It's got the bucket seats, which aren't the most practical, and the 4-point harnesses, which do get a little bit of getting used to getting in and out of it, but still it gives it a really racy feeling, and you feel secure in there, strapped in with the harness. It's got quick release steering wheel, which looks tiny, but actually it makes a lot of sense in this car. It feels, you know, after you've driven it for half an hour or so, it feels absolutely normal to have a steering wheel that tiny. Of course, it's got no power steering, no traction control, no ABS. This is pretty much all it has. Speedo, revs, lights, oil, and fuel gauge with a heater as well, which it gets very hot in there, as you can see R on the 5-speed manual gearbox. It's a great car. I've had so much fun in it so far. Does something like 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, I think. But everywhere I go, people have waved and smiled and wanted to know more, wanted to take pictures of it, unlike really any other car I've spent time with. Fantastic little machine. I'll be sad to see it go when I give it back next week, but it's been an amazing experience, and I think, to be honest, it makes you a better driver driving a car like this. You see it's got almost slick tyres, just with cuts in them to make them road legal. So I'm inside the Caterham now. I'll start it up for you so you can hear it. I don't want to be too noisy and upset the horses. Oh, the horses seem to have had enough anyway. But I'll turn it on and show you how it sounds. So you have to turn the ignition, obviously, but then there's a red starter button and the exhaust is just down there. Just be careful not to burn yourself. But when it's going, it sounds epic, this thing. It sounds a bit like a superbike engine. As I mentioned, quick release steering wheel, so that can come off. Gearbox, I've got a kind of carbon fibre effect here. Then the doors come back like that. The doors are also an optional extra, so you can get the car outdoors. But I've had this on the motorway and so on, and trust me, it needs the doors. It gets very windy in here. But all in all, that's all there really is to it. It's just fantastic. It's great on the country roads. So much fun, and as you can see, all the dead flies on the windscreen. Oh, it's not focusing. Take my word for it, there's a lot of dead flies on the windscreen. This thing just picks them up, especially in this part of the country. But all in all, this thing is epic.